Should you get and build Virtuosa? Short answer, yes. Long answer. This entire video.
I should have introduced myself by playing some music for you. Unfortunately, I've been forbidden from doing so for the moment. Let's start with a code name then. You may call me Virtuosa.
美しい夕焼けね。デッキに流れる音楽もあったなら、きっとこれ以上ないくらいロマンティックなんでしょうね。
Certainly, definitely, 100%, not a saint, Arturia Giallo, codename Virtuosa. Latter Anno-born Sancta and the distant cousin of Operator Executor. Although their circumstances almost make them look like siblings. Virtuosa is a renowned musician, and for some time has been active in Lithuania as quite an important figure. But she is also a wanted fugitive in the Holy Nation, for using her arts that indirectly causes harm to others. After the recent event in Lithuania, she is eventually taken into custody by Executor. But not before some tedious diplomatic discussion between Latter and Curia, and Lithuanian Imperial Court. She was then sent to us to be supervised, observed, and her mental health evaluated, before her fate is decided by the corresponding official. Virtuosa is skilled and has a unique musical arts, that in a way, allow her to unleash the hidden, or suppressed, emotion and desire of the listener. And can even encourage them to follow those desires without regret, or thinking about the consequences. And even if what she wanted is just freeing people from the chains that bind them. But it sometimes led to the death of the listener, or others. Even her own mother is the victim of her arts. Even more so, it seems she is somewhat affected by her own arts. So that is why Virtuosa must not be left without supervision, and is not allowed to play musical instruments, especially her cello, when she is on board. Okay, this pretty criminal is our first 6-star ritualist in the game, and is a limited operator. Being limited is already a big enough reason for some people to get her. But let me tell you, her abilities make her even worth more to gacha. So, as previously shown by Valor Queen, Ritualist has the same range and deals arts damage like a Desel Binder. Ritualist focuses on dealing elemental damage, from either skill or talent. Much like what enemies do to you. Before element damage takes effect, operators must first build up the elemental circle, 1000 points for normal and elites, and 2000 for bosses. Once full, the enemy will enter elemental burst, take the corresponding element damage, and the debuff that came alongside it, and is immune to element build up until the burst ended. In Virtuosa's case, she can only deal necrosis element damage, and so far still considered the best. One thing to note, even now in CN server, there's no enemy with a single elemental and its build up resistance. And even if I do miss someone, it means enemies with that damage resistance are extremely rare. So pretty much you can consider element damage as true damage for the time being. And just like what Valor Queen, or even probably already proved, it's going to be an effective way to handle enemies with high defense and arts resistance. But the thing about element damage, because it needs to build up first, it takes a while to actually deal the damage, and even more so to defeat those with high HP. Not to mention when the enemy is agile and can easily get out from her range. And if your physical or arts dealers are strong enough, they might be better to finish the job quicker. But of course element damage isn't all just damage. It also comes with different kinds of debuff. Although I rarely find necrosis attack debuff useful, especially with how they decay, and the full number isn't always there. Then this is her general stats. Got a pretty cheap cost, and a quick attack interval. Virtuosa's arts DPS is relatively low, so you better get someone else to cover your arts needs. But if you need elemental damage, look no further. Okay, this is her talent. Virtuosa got a great first talent that allows her to inflict a brief slow and necrosis to anyone in range. It's only based on 10% of her attack, so it's not particularly strong, and agile enemies can easily escape her grasp if you don't use blocker or staller. But still, it's a great talent that makes her always deal necrosis between skills. Not to mention this talent allows her to apply necrosis when she's being affected by some negative effect and unable to attack, like frozen for example. And thanks to her second talent, the enemies in her range now take necrosis build up faster. And not only from herself, but anyone else who can inflict necrosis. Alright, this is her pot upgrade list. Well, she's already great even without extra pot. But extra potential never hurts, especially if you're looking to use her in advanced stages. And currently, Ritualist is still with 0 module. But let me know what's the best module effects for Virtuosa and Valor Queen in the comment. Okay, let's talk skills. Skill 1 will only allow her to attack when her skill charge is ready. But thanks to Talent 1, she will still apply necrosis build up to anyone in range. And she can hold up to 3 at Mastery 1. And at M3, she will be given 3 charges in an instant upon deployment. So it's a good option if you need some kind of elemental heli drop. With a bit of mastery and the help of her second talent, Virtuosa can almost or instantly apply necrosis burst in 1 instance of skill charge. And thankfully, she won't hit enemies who are already in a necrosis burst. So she won't waste her skill charges. Overall, this skill provides consistent elemental damage. It's especially the choice when she doesn't fight many enemies, a single boss, or you really need that debuff from necrosis effect. As for skill 2, it makes her into a team player. First, she got attack speed bonus, attack 1 more target. And her attack, plus someone with the highest attack stat in range, will apply necrosis based on some percentage of Virtuosa's attack. Depending on who's the ally, you can spread the necrosis in a way that Virtuosa can't do. Like using an AoE unit to spread the necrosis to a larger crowd. Or using someone to spread the effect to enemies Virtuosa can't reach. And worth to note because the necrosis damage is based on Virtuosa's attack stat. Someone with a quick attack speed is the best operator to partner with this skill. Last but not least, her skill 3. It's famous due to how fast it is to apply necrosis, handling waves of enemies, and killing some bosses. In this skill, she will stop attacking, but thankfully there's still her talent 1. And she got her range expanded. And the best part comes from the attack increase and talent 2 effects now multiply, allowing her to apply necrosis at an insane speed. The long duration also allows it to apply the necrosis twice. But since it has a pretty expensive cost, use with caution in some tight timing stages. Additionally, she will give various buffs to operators with the specific top stats. Not exactly the best or reliable buff source, but it is a welcomed addition. Now let's see which one of her skill is a priority to master. Virtuosa is easy enough, and that is her skill 3. This is the most effective one in most situations. And improving that attack buff, multiplier and skill duration can sometimes make a big difference. Other skills are usually unnecessary. But your secondary option is skill 1. It also has more impactful mastery gain than S3. For example, at M1, she can hold another charge and instant full charge upon deployment at M3 for heli drop. Skill 2 is also worth considering, but I often find her S3 does better. And you don't always need to apply necrosis to someone she can't reach. As for her base skills, well, basically she will boost moral recovery when in the dorm, and further increase it for every 5 soundless resonance effect, which is provided from her skill 1. Also baseline and Eben holds, when they are in their respective workplace. Additionally, Eben can use Virtuosa's skill 1 effect for his own base skill, so you might want to put them in their respective workplace at the same time. So ladies and gents, should you pull for Virtuosa? Virtuosa is currently the queen of necrosis, or elemental damage in general. If you like how that damage type shreds through enemy defense and arts resistance, you're going to like her. She is also useful for new players, although she is considered a secondary DPS unit, especially without her Elite 2 promotion. But her ability should still pack a punch at Elite 1, particularly if you are still in early chapters. She is also a worthy unit to invest for future and endgame content, so long-time players might also want to get her. And don't forget she's limited. By now her debut banner is still available. You miss it, and it's going to be difficult to obtain her in the future. That should be all. Auf Wiedersehen.